Hi everyone, welcome to Dog Details TV. Do you need a name for your new dog? Or, well, any pet for that matter? Are you stumped and have just been unable to come up with a name that you like but also suits your pet? Well, let me see if I can help you out. In this video, I'll tell you a couple ways that you can go about choosing a great name for your dog, and I will also put up some unique names that you might not have heard before. I will also try to include their meaning, unless the name meaning is already very obvious. So one way of choosing a name is just to search the internet. Go to a baby naming website, something like Nameberry, that's one of my favorites, or babynames.com or babycenter.com. If you go to those websites, you'll have a huge selection to choose from, but you'll also be able to find out the meaning and origin of the name if you don't hear it here first. But another way to come up with a perfect name for your dog or your pet is by thinking about things that you enjoy. So what are your hobbies? Or what do you like to watch on TV? What kind of music do you like to listen to? For example, if you like rock music, think about bands or rock stars. Who are your favorites? Maybe you can think of some right off the top of your head. If not, here are some suggestions. How about Ozzy? For Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy is short for Osborne, or Oswald, or Osmond, and it means divine protection. Another cool rocker name is Axl. Now, the singer for Guns N' Roses, Axl Rose, spells his name A-X-L, but you could also spell Axl A-X-E-L. The meaning of the name Axl is Father of Peace. Now, these next two rockers are both female, but if you choose to use their last names, they work well for both male and female dogs. How about Jet for Joan Jett? The word jet can mean jet black, or it can be a gemstone or an airplane. Next would be Joplin for Janis Joplin, and Joplin means son of Job. A great name for a female dog would be Carly for Carly Simon, and Carly comes from the name Carl or Charles, and it means free man. Are you a fan of the Rolling Stones? Well then, how about you name your dog Jagger for Mick Jagger? Jagger means to chase or a huntsman or a carter or peddler. It depends on the origin. And the last name I have for you in this category is Bowie, for David Bowie. Bowie means blonde. Okay, staying with the musical theme, let's talk about classical composers. In my opinion, the one with the coolest name is Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. You can use any of those names. So Wolfgang means traveling wolf. Amadeus means love of God. And to be honest, I'm not quite sure what Mozart means, but it's a cool name. Now maybe you're a fan of this composer or the movie, Beethoven. Again, not sure of the meaning, but it's a nice name. Okay, and now on to art forms or artists. How about Deco for Art Deco? It's an art style from the 1920s to the 1930s, and it's characterized by a lot of bold shapes and bold colors. If you like the style of Art Deco, but you don't want to name your dog Deco, how about art? That's cute too. Graffiti is something often done in a public place without permission, which is writing or drawing on walls. But graffiti is an art form, and there are some wonderful graffiti artists. So that's one that you might want to consider as well. Neon is a really cool art form that is often used for advertising. It's also common to see lots of neon lights in big cities all around the world. So those are some art forms. How about artists? I think Monet is a beautiful name for both a boy or a girl. Monet is derived from the name Simon, which means to be heard. Frida is a lovely name associated with Frida Kahlo, a very famous Mexican painter, and the name Frida means peace. Picasso. Picasso probably derives from the word pica, which means magpie, which is a bird. And then we have Matisse. Not sure about the meaning, but it's a beautiful name. Are you a fan of fashion? Well, then name your dog after your favorite fashion designer. Could be Versace, Gucci, Prada, or so on. Or go with a fashion style. How about hipster? somebody who likes to stay up on all the new fashion trends. You could go with hippie if you like bell-bottom pants, or maybe you're a fan of the 1960s peace movement. Boho is really cute, and I think kind of influenced by the hippie style. Boho is very creative and very colorful. Preppy would make a really cute name too, and it's associated with a more traditional style of dress, often found in preparatory schools or at college. Or maybe name your dog after a clothing item. Knickers is really cute. Knickers could be described as trousers or short pants. These two are probably a little bit more common, but you could name your dog Socks or Boots. How about the maker of a clothing item? You could go with tailor, who's a tradesman who makes clothes or repairs them or alters them in some way. You could go with hatter if you like Alice in Wonderland and the Mad Hatter. A hatter is a person who makes or sells hats. And going back to the Mad Hatter for a second, and that's because there were chemicals involved in the hat making process that actually would poison the hatters and drive them mad or insane. So if you have a dog with crazy high energy levels, then use the name Hatter. And lastly, in this category, cobbler. A cobbler is a person who either makes or mends shoes. Speaking of makers, do you enjoy sewing? Because I think that this category has some really cute and unique names in it. Singer would make a cute name for a dog whose owner loves to sew and, of course, uses a Singer sewing machine. Treadle, that's cute and unique. It's a lever that you operate with your foot on a sewing machine or a spinning wheel. Treadle. Bobbin is a really cute name. Bobbins hold thread, which is either wound or unwound, using a sewing machine. Then there's Stitch. That's pretty self-explanatory, but it's often used in sewing for knitting and crocheting. And speaking of crocheting, crochet. That's a cute name for a dog too. Thimble. That is a cap that protects your finger when sewing. I think that the name Thimble would be really cute for a small dog. Okay, next category. Maybe you're looking for a name for a farm or a ranch dog. Alfalfa. This is a crop that is used as hay to feed a lot of farm animals. You also might remember the character Alfalfa from The Little Rascals. Maize would be a cute name for a dog that lives on a farm that produces corn. From that, you could also use the nickname Maisie. Sticking with corn, how about cob? Corn on the cob. A dog that protects a flock of chickens could be named Rooster. Do you plan on having your dog out all day long with you on the farm? How about naming him Acre, because he's going to cover a lot of acreage? Farmer is another great name for a dog that's going to be outside with you all day long. One that manages, or thinks he manages, all of the land, all of the animals, and all of your crops. And maybe even you. Maybe you have a cattle ranch. In that case, how about naming your dog Bovine? Bovine is the Latin word for cow, but there are also other animals in that category, which include oxen and buffalo and bison and even antelopes. If you do have a cattle ranch and you allow guests to come visit your ranch, why don't you call your dog Dude? Western cowboy or cattle ranches that invite visitors for vacation stays are called dude ranches. More Western-style names that would be cute for your dog would be cowboy or cowgirl, outlaw, or rider. Those are all self-explanatory, of course, but there's also wrangler, which is a person who watches over cattle or livestock on a ranch. Drover would be a really cute name for a herding dog. A drover is someone who moves groups of animals like sheep or cattle. If you're a horse lover, or maybe you have a horse farm, you could name your male dog Colt, which is a young male horse, or you could name your female dog Filly, which is a young female horse. If you love dinosaurs, or maybe you're into paleontology, here's a category for you. Name your dog Rex for T-Rex, or Raptor for Velociraptor. If you're a paleontology, then you're digging for bones, so how about Bones? Or, again, paleontologists are diggers, so name your dog Digger. Also, when you find bones, they're called fossils, so you can name your dog Fossil. Here's a fun category, board games. How about Clue, or Cluedo, as they call it in England where it originated. You may also choose to name your dog after one of the characters from that board game. Some other popular board games that would make really cute names are checkers, chess, Yahtzee, Uno, or Scrabble. Another fun word name is Jenga, which is actually from the Swahili word kujenga, which means to build. Do you enjoy collecting vintage items or antiquing? Well, name your dog after some famous brands. Maybe Spode, or Fenton, Lennox, Steuben, Dalton from Royal Dalton. You could also use Royal, or maybe Tiffany. If you're into sports, or maybe your dog likes to chase the ball, use the name of your favorite athlete, or your favorite team, or maybe your favorite sport. Soccer, polo, hockey, judo, or how about equipment brands that you would use for a particular sport? Maybe Rawlings, or Easton, Wilson, Franklin, or Bauer. Another way to come up with a really cute sports name is to use a position. So from a sport like football, you could use QB for quarterback. From baseball, you could use slugger. Or maybe you have a little dog, you could name him shortstop. Maybe you want to name your dog after a famous dog. Who's your favorite dog from a movie or a TV show or a book? You might also choose to name your dog after a dog that has saved lives. Okay, well, let me give you some suggestions. There's Lassie, who originated as a dog from a novel, but then also became a dog in a movie, and then also several different TV shows. If you don't already know, Lassie was a collie. Then there's Laddie. Laddie was the son of Lassie. Toto from The Wizard of Oz. Pongo, or Purdy, from 101 Dalmatians. Or Nana, the nanny dog in Peter Pan. Two of the earliest movie star dogs to play in motion pictures were both German Shepherds. The first was named Strongheart. His original given name was Etzel, but he received the name Strongheart during his first film, which was called The Silent Call. He even has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The other famous and much more well-known German Shepherd from the motion pictures and TV shows was Rin Tin Tin. As a puppy, Rin Tin Tin was actually rescued from a German kennel that had been bombed during the First World War. He was rescued by an American soldier named Lee Duncan and brought back to the United States. And if you're wondering if the name Rin Tin Tin has a meaning, yes, it does. Rin Tin Tin were actually dolls that French children would give soldiers during the war as good luck charms. Now to get to some names of dogs that actually saved people's lives. The first is the famous Balto. He was part of the rescue effort to get antitoxin serum to Nome, Alaska when diphtheria threatened the area. He ran or led the last leg of the journey. Togo was another lead dog used in the 1925 serum run. Togo really was the true hero of the lead dogs in the serum run, but not many people got to hear about Togo back then. It was Balto that got all the credit because he's the one that arrived in Nome, Alaska with the life-saving serum. But Togo is the one that led his team the greatest distance in the harshest conditions, and he did it all at 12 years of age. Now, here are some names of dogs that needed saving, but they survived for 11 months on their own in the harshest of conditions. Their names were Taro and Shiro. They were reluctantly left behind by the 1958 Japanese Antarctic research expedition with 13 other sled dogs. An American icebreaker ship was able to rescue the 11 researchers via helicopter, but there was no room left for the dogs, and they were left behind. 11 months later, the Japanese research team returned. Unfortunately, 13 of the 15 dogs had either died or went missing, but 2 of them, Taro and Jiro, survived and were found by the researchers. If you're interested in learning more about these dogs, you can check out some movies. There was one made in the 1980s. It was a Japanese movie, and the movie 8 Below was also loosely based on this same story. Okay, I have 2 more categories for you. The first one is going to be flowers, and I'm not going to go over the meanings because they're flowers, but here are some nice names. Hyacinth, poppy, zinnia, marigold, violet, and iris. And for these last naming ideas, I'm going to combine colors and gemstones. So, topaz, jade, opal, pearl, ruby, sapphire, cobalt, scarlet, hunter, indigo, coral, ivory, or bronze. And there we go. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and let me know down in the comments, what did you name your dog, or cat, or bird, or horse, or whatever furry, feathered, or four-legged family member that you've brought into your life. I'll see you next time for another episode of Dog Details TV. Thank you for watching.